Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. I'm standing up. By the time this comes out, it'll already be 2016, but it's time for my annual boxing up video. If you've not been around my channel for long, obviously once a year, these shelves get emptied because these are all the comics that I collected over 2015. I stick them in this long box, which I don't think is going to be big enough for this year. And just give you a quick brief overview of obviously what I collected and what I thought about what I was collecting. I'm going to split this into 4 parts this year. There's obviously going to be a DC section, a Marvel section and an Image section, and then there's the kind of odd bits plus those comics, because we all do it, we try out new stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and so they will be the first little batch of comics we'll look at. So without further ado, let's look at those odds and ends. So what are odds and ends? Well, these are the series that could have come from some of the smaller publishing companies, or they could be just stuff that I've tried out, maybe 1 or 2 issues, and just thought, no, this isn't the comic book for me, and I moved on. We're going to kick off with Boom Studios. If anyone remembers, a Memetic. 4-issue, 3-issue, yeah, 3-issue series from James Tynion, kind of taking over the world through kind of weird senses and making everyone crazy and mad. From Paul Jenkins and I think it's Rum and Bax, Fiction Squad, which was so much fun. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek look at the fairy tale storylines of kind of like your children's stories. Well, it was fun. It was fun. That's what you could say about that. I tried Frankenstein Underground, Mike Mignola on the Dark Horse label. This didn't go on my pull list, and stuff like this he doesn't just put out on the shelves. You have to order it, and although it was only a mini series, I thought it's going to get wrapped up with something else in a nice little bound hardback or something, so I'll wait for that. Paul Hester, John McCrae's Mystic. Although the artwork was fun and it was a kind of interesting premise, still didn't hit home for me. A lot of new #1s from Image came out this week and I just had to say no to a few of them. Brian Buccellato, Tom Infanta's Sons of the Devil was also one of those books I had to say no to. Platonia, which was a shame. I thought this was going to be really good. Jeff Lemire, Emmy Lennox and Jordie Bellaire on colours. It just didn't hit home for me. Said it once, said it 1,000 times. Felt like a John Hughes script that had been thrown away because it wasn't good enough. This, although it was good, the goddamned Jason Aaron and Aaron Guerrero, this will be picked up in some sort of luxury deluxe trade because there's just too many Image books at the moment and I couldn't keep getting and adding and adding and adding. Sometimes it's got to stop. From Archie Comics, we all tried out Archie #1, and yes, it was fun. Kind of modern take on a classic kind of, is he Golden Age? Someone help me out there, but he's been going a long time. But this was a modern update by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples. I don't believe Fiona's on the artwork now, but it was fun, but not one that I could see myself picking up. The next one, more my fault for not putting it on my pull, and then just thought, oh okay, I can leave it behind. It was a Rumble. Rumble by Jason Arcudi, James Harron and Dave Stewart. Really kind of enjoyed the art style on this. To begin with, it was all a bit, I don't know what the hell's going on. It was just kind of too many issues in. I've heard it is really good now. I might pick that up, go back to it in trade. This one just confused the hell out of me and just seemed to be going nowhere, which was Alex Cott's The Surface. I can't even begin to remind myself, let alone you guys, what this was all about, but by the 3rd issue I was just like, no, it's just too confusing. One book I wish I did keep picking up, but I've now started picking up in trade, is Invisible Republic, a kind of post-apocalyptic political thriller, which is actually, I got the first 2 issues. I got the first one on New Comic Book Day for £1, and then I found issue 2 in a 50p bargain bin. But I've picked that up in trade now and probably will continue with that. Vertigo having a bit of a resurgence, but Survivors Club didn't do anything for me. I did get really excited about that because it was kind of like meant to be kind of a lot of 80s homage monsters and horror films to it, but the first one just did not grab me at all. It didn't even have like, oh, I'm interested in just trying out issue 2. Nada, nothing. And then 4-issue miniseries came out in 2015 from Miller and Murphy, Chrononauts. Apparently this was going to be a movie. I don't know whether that's still the case, but yes. 4-issue miniseries. It was fun. Sean Murphy's artwork is amazing. So much detail in there. We'll be hearing his name later on. Finally, these are ongoings if I remember rightly. Oh, apart from this one. Dynamite Publishing had a 12-issue Twilight Zone series. The last 2 issues came out in 2015. It started off strong, then kind of excuse me, pittered out by the end of it, and the end was pretty obvious. Not what you expect from the Twilight Zone, but Straczynski did a great job nonetheless. We also have, again, James Tynion at Boom Studios. He's doing his kind of, I suppose, alien abduction, off-planet survival battle royale with the Woods. I'm always kind of up and down with the Woods. It's either really good or just kind of average. It's never bad, but well, it's still on my pull list. I don't know how long this is meant to be going on for. I will continue. It's kind of like, it's on the edge, but not quite. I'm absolutely fed up with this, and I don't want to collect it anymore. The artwork has been really colourful and really exciting by Michael by Michael. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so there are my odds and ends. We will move on to, let's try Marvel. So yes, Marvel is into its all new, all different universe now, but you know, that only happened in, say, July, August. There was a ton of stuff happening before that. But funnily enough, I wasn't collecting a lot. And there isn't a lot to show pre-Secret Wars. And I presume these came out in 2015 because they're still on my shelves, but does anyone remember Dan Abnett's Guardians 3000? This was a book that actually wasn't on my pull list, and I just kept picking it up off the shelves because I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to keep going with this. I never found out what happened to the Earth Girl who seemed to be messing about with time. I don't know anyone else who was picking this up and enjoying it. So that's kind of a lost title. Also from Marvel, pre-Secret Wars, we had 8 issues of Thor. Only it's not the Thor we all wanted. Well, we got something just as equally good. It was, spoilers, Jane Foster had donned the Thor helmet and aloft the hammer Mjolnir, or however you want to pronounce it. She became Thor. Great artwork by Douterman, colours by Wilson on this. I think he was Molina for a little bit. Keeping it bright and fresh, exciting, very kinetic. We all kind of waited and waited to find out. And then, of course, Secret Wars came along and we had to wait until after all that happened to get it back, which, unfortunately, I've decided not to pick up. That's the final issue. Hopefully you can see that. And there also was an annual. So, that was the kind of I guess, just an extra one in there that's not really Marvel, but it's from their Icon range, which was Powers. Powers came, it's been all over the place publishing houses wise, but it's now at Icon, which is I guess, is it kind of like their Vertigo, DC's version of Vertigo, but Powers, interesting kind of. It doesn't come out very often, which kind of doesn't help its solicitations, but I'm still getting it because I'm a big fan of Powers. Bendis and Oeming continuing their love of that kind of universe where you've got normal cops taking in super-powered people who have done wrong. 2015 was the year that Star Wars came back to Marvel, and everyone got very excited, and everyone got excited because there was a movie at the end of the year, and I didn't really care about the movie, to be honest. Hush my mouth. But I really wanted to try this. I tried Star Wars from Dark Horse when Brian Wood took over the Star Wars title. Funnily enough, if I remember rightly, it kind of took the same time period as this is between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. At Dark Horse, I just couldn't connect with any of it. It felt like I needed to know much, much more about the Star Wars universe than the writer gave me credit for, to be honest. But Jason Aaron, firstly with John Cassidy, and then with Stuart Immonen, yes, on art. This has been a great series. I've really enjoyed it. It's really captured that fun 70s feel. It's captured the characters so well. Cassidy and also Immonen, it might be a different kind of art style, but both of them captured, for the most part, their look, the characteristics of them. Jason Aaron, of course, just did a really fun, exciting, Jedi-infused book. Love this. And we'll be continuing on with Star Wars. It did do a little bit of a crossover, Vader Down, which I didn't get involved in, but I'm sure a lot of you lot did and were had a lot of fun with it. Now, it's already been mentioned, it's still going, we still haven't seen the end of it yet. The event that's going to change our Marvel universe to the all new, all different, it was Secret Wars. This had been kind of leading up through Avengers and New Avengers. All the planets colliding, exploding, destroyed, and of course our band of superheroes wanted to save it, and then it all kind of exploded. There was nothing left except bits and pieces of other planets which Doom and Molecule Man put together and made Battle World. And we saw the main title here, Secret Wars, had a little problem coming out regularly, and they added another issue. It was meant to only been an 8-issue series, turned out to be a 9. We're still waiting for issue 9 to find out how we are now in the all new, all different universe, which has ran ahead of them. It's kind of overtaken them. But I really enjoyed this. Yes, there's a little bit of padding going on, but most events usually do work that way. So that was Secret Wars, and of course what happened with Secret Wars, a huge slew of tie-ins went with it. The first few I'm going to show you, I wanted to try as many as I possibly could, but obviously there was a lot, I couldn't afford them all, and luckily I found some of these and some of the series that I ended up collecting in, strangely enough, bargain bins. Yes, some comic book stores bought a lot of these, couldn't get rid of them. A one-shot Howard the Human, a little bit of a twist on Howard the Duck, fun. MODOK Assassin, can't remember that much about that. Where Monsters Dwell from Garth Ennis, didn't get this at all. It was just crass. I've said it. Secret Wars Battle World. If I remember this is just kind of like heroes, villains fighting each other. Don't really remember much about that. Years of Future Past. I only picked up the first issue of this. I might look out for more of these to fill in these gaps and try and get all of them. I'm sure eventually I'll find them in 50p bargain bins. Of that I've no doubt. So these are the series that I did collect, or I came back to and got really cheaply. I do have the other 3 issues of this somewhere, but we had Planet Hulk. I'll go through these quite quickly unless I've actually got something to say about them, because there's a lot of them. Spider Island, a new take on one of my favourite Spider-Man kind of events of the past few years. We had Flash with the Venom suit on, single survivor, trying to fight off all the people that have turned into spiders, all the heroes taken down, only a few refugees kind of surviving. Then this was one I actually came back to. Runaways, didn't pick this up to begin with, but found them cheap in a bin. But actually it was a whole lot of fun. That was Runaways. Another one I picked up after the fact, again because it was just cheap in the bargain bin, was Secret Wars Journal, kind of anthology series, a couple of stories between each issue, different artists, different storytellers, but still kind of fun, cheap fun for me. Another one that I came back to, I didn't think the first issue was all that good, but actually as a whole series I really enjoyed. Inferno, going back to the 80s, had magic captured by is it the Goblin Queen? I can't remember, but there's a whole lot of stuff about Sinister in there, and everyone piling on everyone basically. We had from the X titles E for Extinction. Morrison and Frank Quietly did a great reimagining of the X-Men, one of the best kind of arcs from two creators, I felt, for a while in the X-books back then. So we had Burnham and Villalobos doing their version of E for Extinction. Another great series, loved the artwork, kind of aping Frank Quietly somewhat, but still good stuff. The only title that I actually put on my pull list that was tied in with Secret Wars was Inhumans, Attilian Rising, and I'm glad I did. It was a really fun book. We had Black Bolt as the kind of barman stroke underground resistance of this kind of bar where everyone from all the parts of Battleworld would come, but it was a kind of like safe zone. And then of course we had Medusa, who was the Baroness of that kind of area on Battleworld. And well, I won't spoil it for you, I will not. Another fun book, didn't really amount to much. That was the problem with these books, they didn't kind of connect very much in any way. They were their kind of single entities. Was Masters of Kung Fu, another kind of underground resistance, wanting Shang-Chi to join their forces and take down the Baron of their land. Then we had to, I suppose, it was Deadpool. I'm not a huge fan, but Deadpool's Secret Wars, a tongue-in-cheek look at the original Secret Wars series, but what if Deadpool was there? And obviously you can imagine Deadpool messing things up quite royally. A surprise title to me. I didn't think I'd like this as much as I did. Jerry Duggan on art stole the show here though. It is the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet, Nova Corps. Lots of excitement. A bit of Guardians of the Galaxy in there as well, if I remember correctly. 5-issue miniseries, lots of fun. Then this was actually good as well. Marvel Zombies. I didn't expect this to be as fun as it was. a kind of dark, humorous take on the Marvel Zombies franchise. But the only thing that kind of let this down was the ending and the kind of surprise villain. It was pretty obvious who it was going to be, but it all kind of tied in very nicely. Yes, we're still going on with the Secret Wars tie-ins. One of the better ones. There's by no small part because of Mike Del Mundo's artwork. It is a weird world. We had Archon trying to find his home and meeting Morgan Le Fay. A multitude of Man-Things. How exciting was that for fans of Man-Thing? But lots of fun, kind of high fantasy, coupled with this gorgeous artwork from Del Mundo. New series come out now, kind of different, kind of not sure about it yet. So, that was all my Secret Wars stuff. Now we go on to the all new, all different, though we don't know how this all happened. Doesn't matter though, doesn't matter. We've got Doctor Strange, 3 issues of this out. But Chris Pichello on artwork, another Jason Aaron written title, but I'm here for the artwork mostly, but the story really has kind of drawn me in. Big, massive, evil, eating up all the magic. Good stuff. As I've said plenty of times, I wanted to try and pick one title from each of the big franchises. So for the Avengers, I decided to pick up the Uncanny Avengers. That way I kind of got a lot of mixture of different characters. You've got Captain America in there, you've got Rogue, you've got Deadpool, you've got the Human Torch. Who else did we have in here? Quicksilver's in there. There's a whole heap of different kind of characters going on in there to make up this Uncanny Avengers team. We're going to Uncanny again, Uncanny Inhumans. Just before Secret Wars kicked off, we had Uncanny Inhumans issue 0, and then we had to wait for months until we got issue 1 and issue 2. Issue 3 is out. It's in another pile for another video, I'm afraid. Great time traveling storyline at the moment. Love craziness like that. Then we had the Extraordinary X-Men. This is the title I'm picking up here. We've got a mishmash of different kind of character X-Men from different kind of Earths. We've got Old Man Logan in there. We've got Jean Grey, Marvel Girl from the 60s. She's the one that Beast kind of pulled back from the past into her future, our present. Yes, it's all very confusing. It's the X-Men, what do you expect? But I'm really enjoying that. They're all kind of residing in limbo at the moment. Magic has got all these magical defences, which is saving them. Who knows? I tried out the Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D. primarily because Man-Thing is in this, but it was terrible. You will not see that again. On a whim, it must have been kind of a quiet week, but I tried out Invincible Iron Man a few issues down the line, but I did actually really enjoy it. I've never picked up an Iron Man comic before, and if you've seen my video, What to Look Out For in 2016 kind of thing, I might try out the Bendis and Maleev's International Iron Man rather than that one. And I believe that is all the Marvel. Right, we're kicking off now with DC, which is kind of a reversal of fortunes for DC and my collecting, much like Marvel went the other way round, where I wasn't collecting much at the beginning of the year. I'm collecting a lot more Marvel now. At the beginning of 2015 I was collecting a lot of DC, but now I'm not collecting that much, mostly because they cancelled a lot of the good titles. Not least we had Swamp Thing ended in 2015, 40 issues in. We had Scott Snyder doing it, and then we had Charles Soule doing it, who really kind of gave it back that that old Vertigo style feel. But a great title, sorely missed. It's getting a kind of mini-series in the new year, so look out for that. It's written by the originators Len Wein, so look out for that. Just sneaking into 2015, the very last issue of The Unwritten came out. Volume 2, great series. Do check that out in trade. A really fun, interesting read, and something that gives you a little bit more to think about and get you like your chops into. Believe it or not, but Batman Eternal came to an end in 2015, and personally, I was glad it did. I kind of got to the stage where I might as well just come to the end of this and complete it, but I can't even remember how it ended. That's how good this was. And that's all I've got to say about it. Another series that came to an end, which kind of like did peter out by the end. I did love it. It had all my favourite kind of magic occult characters in. That was Justice League Dark. John Constantine, although he'd kind of been neutered, so to speak, coming into the DC universe and no longer at Vertigo, he was still a bit of a bastard anyway. But great characters, Deadman, you had Frankenstein, Agent of Shade in there. Who else did we have? Night Nurse eventually became a recurring character. Obviously Zatanna was in there. I just really enjoyed it. It was Justice League Dark, but the kind of age of DC and their kind of DC Dark, DC Family, DC, you know, regular superhero type there, that's all gone now, and everything's kind of all mishmashed, and I don't think DC actually know what they're doing anymore. Also coming to an end with a trade, basically, was Fables. It got to issue 150, and we said farewell to Fabletown in this big end of run. Issue 150. Sad still. But Fables, almost, if it wasn't for the Sandman, this would be my favourite Vertigo title of all time. Moving on, we also had Grant Morrison finally getting to do his Multiversity. It was really good. They were like just standalone issues, again in different universes, saw different takes on different characters, but my god was it good. Big favourite for everyone, Pax Americana, Grant Morrison, Frank Quietly doing what they do best. But Thunderworld, also a good one. If you like Shazam. Surprisingly, the Multiversity Guidebook was one of the top books of Multiversity that I liked the best, and it was just that. It was a guidebook of all the universes and the characters that were in there. We had a kind of a Masterman one, there's Hitler in there, then we had Ultra Comics, and then the final issue of the kind of bookended series. Great. I've been back to that a few times since, I'll tell you that. What have we got next? It took a while to finish this 6-issue series, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. It's taken years for this to come out. That's why it's just stayed, all the issues have stayed on the shelf. But it was the Sandman Overture. Neil Gaiman, J.H. Williams III, Neil Gaiman coming back to his Vertigo creation many, many years later, and gave us the story of what happened just before he was captured at the beginning of the main series. Gorgeous to look at. Took a while for it to come out. I'm sure a lot of people will be picking that up in trade. So a lot of new books came out in 2015. Just recently, book 2 is already out, but Dark Knight 3. This is, for me, it's just kind of a bit of a movie blockbuster. There's nothing there yet to really get your teeth into. Fantastic horror series from Gail Simone of Vertigo, Clean Room. That's certainly gone on my pull list. Whenever Darwin Cook comes out with some art, you know you're going to pick it up. He's teamed up with Gilbert Hernandez on The Twilight Children. It's a 4-issue miniseries. We've only got one more of these to come out, but great art on that. Fun. Tried out Dr. Fate. This is, who was this written by? Oh, that's it, Levitz, Liu and Lowridge. I like Dr. Fate as a character. I've not read a great deal of him. I've got bits and pieces in my collection. It's kind of meandered a little. It's kind of a bit of a slow read. Hopefully once this first story arc, which seems to have continued and continued to go on, finishes, we might get more of the universe. We can get over that hurdle of this kid doesn't want to be Dr. Fate, but we know, you know, you're going to be Dr. Fate. Just get on with it and get some heroics going. One of my favourites, I'm glad he's back. Glad he's got his own mini-series again. It is Orlando and Akko's Midnighter. Fun, action-packed, violent, gruesome, funny, touching, which, you know, you don't expect with this kind of over-the-top violent comic, but Midnighter has been one of my favourite fun titles to read this year. Much like Dr. Fate, I didn't mention it, but I just don't see these ones going on for much longer. Not by any fault of the writer. I just think they're too niche characters to continue in a long ongoing run, unfortunately. One comic I'm glad is still on the go. It's Kurt Busiek's Astro City. Decided to come to Vertigo. It's been everywhere again, publishing wise, but had a lot of fun with these kind of standalone stories, sometimes 3 or 4 issues long. Much prefer his standalone stories. If you've seen my review videos, whenever I talk about Astro City, it's always that. I much prefer these standalone one-shot stories because Kurt Busiek, master storyteller, he can do this. He can give you a start, he can give you a middle, he can give you an end in one issue, and it's perfect. You don't feel like you've missed out anything. You don't think he's over-explained anything. He's a master at this, and I'm glad that he's still going on here with Vertigo. Vertigo giving him the chance to continue this fun ride, and long may it go on. So, yep, that is Astro City. Of course, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo's run continues unabated. Not been the hugest fan of James Gordon as Batman, especially in this last storyline with what could have been a great and interesting and scary creation in Mr. Bloom. It just kind of feels watered down, and he's been underused in this storyline. We all know Bruce Wayne as Batman is going to come back eventually, just sooner rather than later, please. Continuing on with Batman, we have the kind of schizophrenic rollercoaster ride that is Batman Detective Comics. It's had so many artists and creators on this, and no one seems to know what to do with it. It seems all the emphasis is put on Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman. All the energy, all the kind of advertising is for that, and it's kind of Big Brother is kind of been left behind, so to speak. Detective Comics was always meant to be the kind of flagship, but I guess these days it just depends what creator you've got on it. This is one that I've said is kind of on thin ice at the moment. It's probably going to go, if it doesn't pick up, very, very soon. Finally, from DC, we have, well, it's over now. It's all your fault. Gotham by Midnight. The Spectre, Jim Corrigan, great series, supernatural storyline. Ray Fawkes and Ferreira finished off this title, but we had some great artwork by Ben Temple-Smith. There were some great covers by Bill Sinkovich, and also again Ben Temple-Smith. Just loved the hell out of this title, and by the end of this series, you should have been reading it. It was so good. It was so exciting. You'll hear me talk about more of that in another video, I can assure you. But it's sad. Again, much like Midnighter, much like Dr. Fate, I kind of knew this title wasn't going to go on for very long, and I had to make the most of it while I could. But it was really, really good. Sad to see that go. And that is all my DCs. Well, I was right, there wasn't enough room in that newly bought long box to fit in all my comics for the year, so I've had to get out this scabby little box for now to box up what has been, let's put it this way, it's Image's best year. They threw so much great stuff at us that it was kind of, in parts it was kind of overwhelming, and our wallets screamed and shouted and cried as we added image number one after image number one onto our pull lists and continued buying them. Let's just dive in, should we? Let's start off with one that I think has gone the way of some kind of experimental type comics. Bye-bye, in other words, is Brandon Graham's 8 House series. It was kind of a melting pot of creators, storytellers, artists, basically trying out new things. I think this would have been better off in his anthology magazine series Island. It might have been a little better received in that kind of people you don't know but you want to give that chance to show them off. It got very confusing because, you know, you had this Arclight series, then it'd stop and you'd get this Joris series, and then it'd stop and you'd get this Kiem series. It all got very, very confusing, and I don't think people knew what they were meant to be collecting, whether these were kind of separate, non-connected universes, were they kind of spin-offs from each other. It's harmed it. Got a feeling it's done. There's no more. We saw one more issue come out. Poor Nate Simpson. I really do feel for the guy, but he does some great work. It's non-player issue 2 came out. I always keep non-player issue 1 on the shelf as well because I like going back to this, despite there's only 2 issues of it in probably as many years, if not more. I know he had problems both financially and physically, wasn't well for a long time, but someone give this guy a hand because he's got a story to tell which is really exciting, really interesting. We've got I Hate Fairyland, Scotty Young doing his over-the-top, violent but kind of, I won't say kiddie friendly because it's not kiddie friendly, but it's like, it's turning its head on that kind of fairy story universe and making it bloody gutsy, full of zombies, full of monsters, not for the faint of heart. Brian K. Vaughan, new series with Cliff Chang, Paper Girls, something I was surprised at, didn't realise it was going to go where it went. No, it's not really about Paper Girls. This isn't a paper round we're on. This is future, this is aliens, this is Who Do You Trust? Headlopper issue 2 has come out. It's in a different pile, but great series. Doesn't come out that often. It's a quarterly magazine sized. Pages wise, it's still kind of comic book size, but it's kind of Conan meets Adventure Time, but for adults properly. Great kind of crime noir from Rich Tomasi. Dark Corridor. I think issue 7 is just about to come out. It's going to continue, but I've really enjoyed this kind of quirky take on the crime noir series. Please check it out. It's a lot of fun. Only 2 issues in, but Monstrous, Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, awesome book. Really kind of finished off my 2015 in style. Great steampunk fantasy series with kind of thrown in with like cute little monsters and horrific demons. Tokyo Ghost, Rick Remender, Sean Murphy and Matt Hollingsworth doing a great post-apocalyptic storyline. Most of the world taken over by technology, everyone's plugged in, but he's showing us those parts of the world where it's technology free, and the difference is they do a spot on job there. Now, the book that I don't think I've ever talked about yet, because I kind of found a lot of back issues, was trying to fill in the gaps, and then thought, oh, sod this, I'm just going to start collecting it. But for some reason, never got the chance to talk about it. It is Ruckalark's Lazarus. Again, another post-apocalyptic universe where the world is kind of run by families that are like super, super rich, and kind of like the people who kind of wait on them, who are their servants, who are essentially their slaves. Crime thriller, spy espionage book, great stuff. Should be reading it. Moving on to more sci-fi, a little bit of a twist on this with the artwork. I love Descender. Jeff Lemire and David Nugent's doing such a great job on this. The art for me is the winner here. Not that Jeff Lemire isn't writing a great story with this, because he is. It's taken some turns I didn't expect it to. You'll be hearing more about Descender in another video, but great stuff. I hope this title continues for quite some time. Moving on to another Remender. Remender's had a great year, Image this year. Low with Ticini. This kind of, again, it's the Image model at the moment where they kind of bring out a whole story arc, have a little bit of a rest for a couple of months, and then come back. In the middle of that, they put out some more number ones, so you end up collecting more than you realise. But yes, Rick Remender, Ticini's Low, underwater adventure. All Earth has had to come underwater to live because the surface is now far too hot. Crashed probe may be leading them to a new world to go and live in. Next, we haven't seen much of it for a while, but Chris Barbier told me, you know, look out in the new year, be patient, there will be more. It's 5 Ghosts. We had their kind of horror genre in the kind of Hammer horror vein, which was a lot of fun, a lot of twists in that as well, and obviously the gorgeous art by Moneyham on this as well just makes this one of my top favourite books of 2015. Just finished off is Nameless, by the looks of it, 6-issue series, sci-fi horror this time, but so good, so creepy. It's kind of at the end, we were all like saying on Twitter, it's like, what the hell just happened? It felt very open-ended. Is this actually the end? It felt like an ending, a Grant Morrison ending. It's something that we're going to have to go back and read probably as a whole again to maybe connect all the dots and understand exactly what happened. Morning Glory kind of trudges on now. We're coming to the end. I think I've heard people say there's going to be 60 issues of this and then it's over. Issue 49 has just come out, so hopefully we'll get some answers to this crazy Lost meets kind of Beverly Hills 90210. Moving on to new title that came out in 2015. Eric Stevenson, Jody Belair on colour, Simon Gain on art. It's They're Not Like Us. Kind of bunch of outsider misfits. They all have kind of powers. It's kind of like X-Men without morals, until we have a new person join their band of, well, we won't say merry men because they weren't very merry. But this has been a slow kind of but character-driven story. I've really enjoyed it. I've kept going. I know a lot of people have kind of dropped off on it. It's picking up again with some kind of twists and turns along the way. Another one that's been kind of up and down. It's firmly going to always be on my pull list though. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples on Saga. I just feel it's a little bit directionless at the moment. We've always said yes, it's about the family, how they cope. if it wasn't for the kind of sci-fi trappings of this, quite frankly, this could just be a kind of sitcom drama type affair, to be honest. Needed some more of Fiona Staples, kind of out there kind of creatures in environments. There seems to be too much now of just that one-page shock factor to keep us interested. I've mentioned this on many occasions. There is always that kind of splash page, whether it be the first one or further down the line, where it's more shocking than is involved with the storyline. But that's just my opinion. A great dark series from David Lapham. Stray Bullets, Sunshine and Roses continues its series. It's up to issue 9 now. There's this plan to kind of rescue this girl, and it's taking a while to happen, but it doesn't feel like it needs to rush itself. We're getting so much good stuff from all our main characters, and how tense and how nervous and how apprehensive they all are, who's on whose side, who's going to betray who's going to come out on top. I love this. This has been really good. Usually the last series that we had, it was more kind of standalone stories, and this kind of began that way, but then developed into this beautiful story, although incredibly dark. Apparently we won't see this again. We had one last issue in 2015. It's Umbral. That's all we're going to say on that. If you can call a comic as a guilty pleasure, this would be a guilty pleasure. It's Justin Jordan and Cal Stream's spread, post-apocalyptic, winter world, organism, alien, eats everything in its path, gets bigger and bigger, takes over your body, takes over anything organic, and we have our bunch of characters trying to outrun it. It's gore, it's kind of like The Thing. It's not pushing any comic book boundaries in the slightest, but it's fun, it's entertaining, it's exciting. I love the spread, and I always will, I think. That's the spread. Funnily enough, 10 grand. Joe's Comics from Image, J. Michael Straczynski. It finished with C.P. Smith on art, which I wasn't a fan of. The storyline definitely kept me going on this. Unfortunately, you know, it's Ben Temple-Smith. He doesn't stay on a title very long, unfortunately. He never sees anything till the end by the looks of it. But great storyline, shame about the art by the end. One that I just gave up on in the end was Shutter, unfortunately. It just doesn't know what it's doing anymore, in my opinion. It started off strong, it had this great, fully realised universe. I wanted to see so much more of... They were all my comics falling down. I wanted to see so much more of it, but then they took us into different dimensions and secret pocket hole universes and all that kind of stuff, and it lost itself. I'm sorry, it did. Let's push these back up again. Another series that just kind of not lost me, but lost my interest. Birthright. Started off strong, then again, you know, the family, it was all about family, and I couldn't really kind of connect with it in any way, strangely enough. And I wanted more action, I wanted more adventure, I wanted more of this kind of fantasy world seeping into our regular world and how that affects all the characters. And I don't think it really did that to any great degree. Maybe it'll get better. I won't be there to find out. One of my top books for 2015 was Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' The Fade Out. The guys doing what they do best, crime noir. This with none of the kind of magic, black magic, occult stuff that they had from Fatale. It was straight Hollywood drama, crime noir, murder mystery, and these two guys, it's like they've lived there. It's like they went through it all with these characters. They have such an appreciation for the time. They had such a knowledge of how things looked, how people acted. Just amazing, and definitely pick up the Fade Out. Continue on with the Trees. It came out with 5 issues this year, which kind of is a shame because it's an interesting story. This is again another of those books that's very much more character driven rather than action driven, but it doesn't harm it. There are books that you'll pick up that are more about the storytelling than about the visual experience. Although Jason Howard's artistry on this is fantastic. All the characters are so well realised. You know exactly who is who. Just a great book, but kind of needs a bit of a push somewhere. Rick Remender's back again, and his Deadly Class, another of my firm favourites, and always will be. And please go out and buy it if you're not already, because you should be. Fantastic book that harkens back to the 80s, throws in a little bit of kind of like Harry Potter but with assassins. So there's lots of blood, there's lots of guts, there's lots of violence, there's love triangles, there's drug taking, gangs, explosions. There's so much that this book delivers, and it delivers 100%. Get it. We're nearly there. East and West, what a great series. What's he doing? Hickman, the universe he creates, he keeps adding layers and layers and layers. We've kind of been very focused to begin with on Death, one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, and his kind of journey trying to find his son, meeting up with his kind of estranged wife. But then we get this huge world of kind of almost civil unrest. We have all these borders, we have all these kind of countries within America that have their kingdoms and are trying to, not outdo each other, but, they want to strengthen their armies. It's very political, it's very kind of espionage, and it's just been getting better and better. Very slow to start with when it first began, but it's picked up so much, and great stuff. I'm running out of room in this box now. Will we ever stop saying his name? But he's there, he is Image. It's Rick Remender, Black Science. Sci-fi time-travelling, dimension-hopping book. Great artwork by Matteo Scalero. You just cannot knock his art. I'm sorry, I will not have anything said bad against him. It's wondrous. Every issue is packed with great action, colouring by now it's Marino Dionisio. It was Dean White, but Dean White was still just phenomenal. Dionisio is trying almost to ape his style. He fits in very well, but at least we still get that Matteo Scalero feel to it that hasn't gone away. The colours haven't detracted from his great style. Just another great book. I'm looking forward to the big deluxe version hardcover that's coming out this year. Bitch Planet, say goodbye to it because I'm not picking that up anymore. Haven't seen it for a while, but Matt Fraction's Odyssey, sci-fi gender-bending homage to Homer's Odyssey, that classic piece of literature that no one's read. No, I'm sure there are some very academic people out there that have, but I know what it's trying to do. And it's amazing. Visually, Christian Ward just knocks it out the park with its kind of psychedelic art style. This is definitely one that for a treat for the eyes. The storyline a little bit more of a struggle. Kurt Busiek isn't only doing Astro City, he's also kicking off with the Autumn Lands. He's done another great job creating this kind of Commandy-esque magic wielding world that literally comes crashing to the ground. It's just started up again in the last couple of months. We've had issue 7 and number 8 come out just recently after a little bit of a hiatus, and it's come back stronger and better than ever. So Autumn Lands is definitely a title you should be looking out for if you haven't already. This finished off this year. Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughan's Alex and Ada. A very kind of slow-moving sci-fi look at love between a robot and a man. It is what it was. These are obviously very highly advanced robot, android, whatever you want to call them. But it was heartbreaking at the end. But lots of great character, realised character, what am I trying to say? Character development. Like I said, it was a slow read. This isn't like full of action, superheroics, car chases, anything like that. But still, it had me hooked from the first issue till we got up to issue 15. Great stuff. Scott Snyder and Jock with Matt Hollingsworth gave us the creepy Stephen King-esque Witches, A Family, and Sacrifice. People had a little bit of a problem with the kind of artwork in this, the murky, underwatery splashes of colour type affair, but I thought it suited to the dark, creepy nature, the kind of drowning in you know, drowning in air kind of feeling that this had. But can't wait for Scott Snyder and Jock to come back with another series of this, whatever they have in store. I'll be lapping this up. Penultimate series, which has gone away now, unafraid. It is Goner's kind of fun monster horror flick Saturday morning show of a comic. Two kids' legacy of their parents who they see die on TV. It never really, unfortunately, got a chance to flourish and find out where this actually was going to go. Shame. And finally, Brandon Graham again with his Island anthology, these kind of slightly oversized magazine series, which I hope continues. It's kind of changed its publishing format now. It doesn't have these square bound issues anymore. But I've had fun playing around with new creators and creators that we already know, universes. Try it out, try an issue out, and see what you think. And I think that's it. They were all my comics for 2015. Thank you for watching. I'm going to stick Silver Surfer on there. Surf his way into 2016. Looking forward to some more great stuff from all our publishing companies. Until next time, thank you for working your way through this video. I hope you enjoyed it and had a nice reminisce of what came out in 2015. Until next time, bye bye.